Are you wondering how you can use your math and literacy centers inside the learning management system Canvas? In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can use those digital learning centers right inside Canvas. Stay tuned. Hey there, educational rock stars. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Farah from Fair Henley Education, and I strive to bring you actionable tips and strategies so that you can take them right back into your classroom each week to make your teacher life a little easier. And today's video is no exception. If this is your first time joining us here on the channel, welcome. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that you get notified when we go live or upload a new video on the channel. Now, if you are using Canvas and you use math and literacy centers in your regular classroom in person, you might be wondering, how can I use centers inside Canvas? A lot of teachers have been reaching out to me because they either have my digital math and literacy centers for K through 4, or they're inside the Learning Centers Made Easy membership, and they are wondering, how are we going to use these digital centers when our school is making us use the platform Canvas? Because the digital centers that I have are for Google Slides and Seesaw. So these teachers are wondering, how do we use this in Canvas? And today I'm going to show you how. So let's dive in to the tutorial. Okay, so I am in my Canvas that I have set up a demo classroom, and what you're seeing right now is my home page, my homeroom. I am going to do a tutorial on how I am using, or how I would use, my Bitmoji classroom inside Canvas, but that's not what we're going to be talking about today. So what I want to look at right now is, you've got to make sure when you set up your Canvas. Now, I'm not going to do a whole tutorial on Canvas and all of the features on Canvas. If you are using this as your learning management system for your school, then it's more than likely that you're getting that training from your school, or there are plenty of videos out there with full walkthroughs of the learning management system. What I'm going to be showing you today is how you can use your math and literacy centers, your digital math and literacy centers that you might have that are in Google Slides, over in your learning management system Canvas. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. I'm also going to be showing you how you can even use your math and literacy centers that you find in Seesaw. You can also use those, or even Boom Learning. You can use those here in Canvas. So one of the things that I want to look at first is, how do I use systems like, or sites like Boom Learning or Seesaw on a learning management system like Canvas. And what most of us have been told, especially, well, primarily with Boom, is that if you're not familiar with Boom cards, I have a full tutorial on Boom cards and how to use those. I will link to that in the description. But if you're using Boom cards, we've often been told, we'll just use the Fast Play Pen, or the Fast Play link, or the Fast Pen link. But with that method, you're not able to get any of your students' data with regard to how many they got right, which ones they skipped, and so forth. And I know for me as a teacher, I would want to use all of the data that I could get. But we want to make it simple so that our students aren't having to jump back and forth from Canvas over to the Boom website and then log in and so forth. So I want to show you a way that you can do that right inside Canvas without having to have your students jump to multiple places in order to complete assignments. So the way you do that is with Pages. So if you go down to Pages, now, you're going to see that when my students hit Pages, they're immediately going to be brought into my homeroom. And again, I'm going to do a tutorial on how I set this up in a different video. So that what I'm going to do is, I'm going to look at View All Pages. And you'll notice that I have the front page is my homeroom, but the next page that I've added on here is Boom Learning. So if I click on Boom Learning, this is going to open up a page that doesn't just have a link to the Boom Learning website, but it actually opens the Boom Learning website inside Canvas. And I have got this set up to where
my students would be able to come in here and they would be able to do a student sign in. Now, I actually have a demo student set up in an incognito window where so I tested this where once a student signs in, it actually keeps them logged in. I've been logged in for about 4 days now, so I have not, as my demo student, so I have not, I haven't, and it hasn't logged me out. So that was really interesting to know that my students could sign in and it would keep them signed in. But in the event that it doesn't keep them signed in, you obviously could create some sort of link or page or materials or files or something, just like you would in your classroom, with all the logins, so that your student can have that login. And maybe you send that to them individually, because I know you can assign certain things or have certain things on Canvas that only certain students can see. So you would need to figure out how you're going to get that information to your student, but they can actually sign in and play right here. So let me show you how that works. So I've opened up this incognito window where I am signed in as a student now on Canvas. It's a demo student account that I've set up, and I'm going to go into my course that I'm enrolled in, and you'll see that immediately, because my teacher, me, has this set up to open to my Bitmoji homeroom. Then I'm going to need to go over 2 pages, and the homeroom is there again, but I'm going to need to go up to view all pages, and then there's my Boom Learning. Now, a way to do this would obviously be to link to this particular page inside your Bitmoji classroom. I'll talk about that more when I talk about the Bitmoji classroom. But when I click on Boom Learning, you're going to see that it's going to open Boom Learning for me. Now, I'm going to sign in for the first time on this student account, and if I hit sign in with Boom. All right, so now you can see that we've logged into the demo students account, and they are right on this. They are still on the Canvas site, even though they are using Boom Learning, and they are completely logged in. And what this is going to do for me as a teacher is this is going to allow me to actually collect data from my students when they play their Boom decks, instead of just using the Fast Pen or the Fast Play Pen, and that link to where I'm not getting any data. So now this is going to require you as a teacher to actually go ahead and set your students up on Boom Learning, because they're going to need their accounts, their usernames, their passwords, and things like that. But the great thing about this is they can do all of this right inside of Canvas, and they don't have to get out of Canvas in order to do it. So that was one of the complaints I've heard from a lot of teachers with regard to using Boom, and it is a separate account. So Canvas, I have a free for teachers account, so this is completely free to me if I was using it for my students, and if your school is doing it, then it's obviously free to you. Now, Boom is not free. However, again, it is very reasonable, and I believe about $15 a year, maybe $25 for the whole year. But you can go in and set your students up, and like I said, I've got a whole video on the how to use Boom Learning and a whole tutorial on Boom Learning that I will link in the description. But you can see that they are in Boom Learning right here, and I can even play games. So we're going to go here to this medial. All right, so it'll open the game right there inside of Boom, or inside of Canvas, inside of Boom. So it's going to open it right there. They can play right here. So we go through. You're going to see that it's even going to give us the sounds, the sound effects. And if I get one wrong, oops, sorry. And I can play right there and go through these cards. Now, when the student is done, they just like on the Boom website, they just hit save and quit and hit OK, and it'll take them back to their assignments or their account. So that's how you can use Boom, and any Boom cards that you've collected for learning centers, you can use those right inside of Canvas. All right, so I'm back over here on my teacher account, and I'm going to go to pages, and I'm simply going to go up here to view all pages, and then I'm going to go to the Boom Learning page, but I'm going to go to these 3 little dots, and I'm going to hit edit. So if I was doing this, oh, I apologize. Let me get out of that. I've actually got to go to the page. If I was doing this from the very beginning, I'm obviously going to hit add page, and you're going to go up here, but I'm going to show you how I did this on the actual page. So I'm going to go to the Boom Learning page, and then I'm going to simply hit edit. Now when I edit the page, it's going to bring up all of the stuff that I could edit on the page. And what you need to pay attention to is the HTML editor up here. Now what we are using is called an iframe. So you're going to go to the HTML editor, and you're going to see that I have an iframe included. Now this is a simple code, and I am actually going to give this code to you inside in the description. I'm going to give you this code down in the description so you can just copy it and paste it. Now what this will say right here is it will say enter website here, because this iframe code can work for any website you are trying to embed. So you could use this to embed, say, another learning website that you want them to go to without having to leave the Canvas platform. So you're going to use this iframe right here, and you're going to put it into the box right here, but you're going to have to go under HTML editor and put it in the box right here. The most important thing on this is you're going to want to make sure you make the width 100% and the height at least 1,000. You can't leave it blank. That way when they actually go to the page, it is going to fill up the entire width of the page, and they're going to be able to scroll down to the page and see stuff. So, and there are your prices. So yeah, you could definitely go up to 50 students for only $15 a year on Boom. So I will link to that, leave that iframe code as well as a link to my Boom tutorial in the description. So now let's talk about Google Slides.
Okay, so now let's talk about how to use your Google Slides centers. If you have purchased My Digital Centers or you're part of the Learning Centers Made Easy membership, sorry, I'm tripping over my words today, then you know that I use Google Slides for My Digital Centers as well as Seesaw, but we're going to focus on Google Slides today. So because Seesaw is a whole learning management system by itself. Now, one of the biggest complaints that I hear from teachers is, well, I don't want my students to have to leave. We're using Canvas. We can't, the students can't leave Canvas. They don't want them logging into another website, and it's so much trouble for me to have to create a Google folder for a Google Drive folder for every student, make every student a copy of an assignment, and then put it in their folders, and blah, blah, blah. You get the picture. And if you are a Canvas user, then you know what I'm talking about. So here's what you need to do. You can actually assign those Google Slides centers right inside Canvas, and the students never leave the Canvas website. So, or the Canvas platform. And here's how you do it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you've got to get your Google Drive integrated with your Canvas account. So let's show you how you do that. So if you go inside your course, now, if you're like me, you're going to be sitting there searching for days on where to find this, but you have to actually be inside a course. And if you have multiple courses, you have to do this for every single course. So your first thing you're going to do is you're going to go down to settings, and you're going to go up to apps. And yes, you can search for the Google apps, but we've got to actually first get our Google Drive attached. And here is how we do that. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go, you're going to search for Google. And you are going to need this, but we're not going to do this yet. Okay, we're not going to do this yet. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to come down here, and you're going to find this little link under installation instructions. Now, let me tell you, it took me about 5 hours to figure out how to do all this, because that little link right there was hidden. Now, if your school has this set up, you may have to go through your school, and they may have to set this up for you, but I think you can do it on your account alone, even if your school doesn't have it for the entire the entire school. I think you can do it on your account alone, but this is what you're going to need. This little link right here down under installation instructions. So if you click on that link, it's going to take you to generate LTI key and secret. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back, and I'm actually going to open this up in a separate window because I don't want to lose my page right here. So I'm going to right click and open link in new tab. So now I'm going to go over to this and I'm going to generate an LTI key and secret. So notice that all it did was pop this information up, and you may be looking at this going, OMG, what is this? I have no idea what it is. Here's where you're going to need it. So let's go back over to our apps and let's go to view app configurations. Now you'll notice I've already added it right there, but we're going to go through as if we're adding it again. So I'm going to go to add app. I'm going to go by URL, and here is where that information needs to go. So the first thing I want to do is I want to give it a name. So that maybe this is my Google Drive. So I'm going to add Google Drive, and then I'm going to insert the shared key and generate the key is right here, the secret is right here, and there is the URL. Now what that's going to do is that's going to add your drive to your to here. So let me do this really quick. So Google Drive, and we need that consumer key. So let's find the key, and then let's go find the secret, and then the URL. And when I submit, it says this tool's already been installed. Would you like to install it anyway? Obviously, I don't want to install it, so I'm going to hit no, cancel installation. So what that's going to do is that's going to add your Google Drive over here, and you're going to be able to access your Google Drive this way. Now you're going to have to go back to settings, and you're going to have to go to Google Apps. You have to install this right here as well. So you're going to hit add app, and you're going to enter the same information right here. You're going to enter the consumer key and the shared information and add app, and it will add the Google app. So you've got to do those two things first, and it may seem like you're doing the exact same thing, but you're not. They're two separate things, but you've got to do both of those things first. So now I'm going to go up to assignments, and you're going to see that I've assigned a Medial Sounds clip cards. And how did I do that? When I open that up, you're going to see that it opened Google Slides right here inside Canvas, and my students can work right inside Canvas. Now, obviously this one right here, if I was assigning this as a teacher, I would take out the cover page and all these terms of use and all this because my students don't need that. I was doing this just for demonstration purposes, and if I click on that link, it'll open Google Slides for them. And notice it never took them to a Google Drive. It never had them log in because, and this is where it's important, the first time your students do this, and we're going to look at this from a student view, but the first time your students do this, they will have to connect their Google Drive to their student account. However, it's going to ask them to log in. However, the first time they do it, they don't have to do it again. Well, at least I'm not seeing that they've had to do it again. But let's go ahead and look at this from a student view. All right, so I'm over in my student view, my demo view for my course now. And if I go up to assignments and I click on Medial Sounds, now it may ask me to log back in. It's been a few days since I was in here. So I've got to log back into my Google account. So I just simply authorize my Google account, and it immediately opens the activity. Now again, I can complete this right inside of Canvas, and so if it's small like this where the students can actually can do it right inside Canvas, then that's great. If not, they simply click on this and it will open it up in a new browser. But notice my students logged in and they didn't have to go to a Google Drive. They didn't have to go find the assignment or anything like that. It opened a new window, and when they're done, now this is where it gets tricky, because when this does is this automatically makes a copy for each student, just like Google Classroom does. And yes, it means that inside the student's Google Drive, there's going to be a folder where it's going to be housing all of their assignments and all the copies of their assignments. But if your students never actually go to Google Drive to do anything, they won't see that. You would see that as the teacher, especially if you're doing younger students that don't have access to all of that. And so you would be the only one that sees that. But they could open it up, they could complete the activity, and then once the activity is done, they would still need to come back over here and submit it. And once they submit it, this is the great thing about it. So they come down here and they fill all this out and they answer the questions. So smell and jump, and then they go to the next one, dish and drop. And this does not mess with your original copy. So now once they're done, they don't have to do anything, because you know that Google Drive and Google Docs, it automatically saves. Okay, I'm sorry. It looks like my microphone cut out. So once they actually complete the assignment or complete the center over in the Google Slides window that opened, they would have to come back over to Canvas and actually hit that submit button and submit the assignment. So now I want to show you how I added the assignment into the Canvas. So I would go up to add assignment, and then I'm going to give the assignment a name, and for this purposes I'm going to just name it test assignment. And once I've done that, I don't have to add a description or anything like that. I could add instructions right there if I wanted to, but I'm going to come down and I want to make sure that I've put it into an assignment group. I've given it however many points it is, and the most important thing is this external tool. So you're going to use an external tool, and then you're going to go down to and click the find on external tools. So this is where you're going to find it. Now in mine, it added the Google Drive cloud assignment whenever I added that app, what we talked about at the very beginning, and I don't know what it'll be named in yours, but you're going to hit Google Drive assignment tool, and then you'll be able to open your Google Drive and find the activity that you want to assign. So I'm going to assign the same Spring Buddies Medial Sound Digital Center right here. I'm going to click on that and add that, hit submit, and you'll notice that it's going to enter a URL right there, which is the URL to that assignment in your Google Drive. Now you can hit the load in a new tab if you want to, or you could leave that blank, and it's completely up to you if you want to load it in a new tab. Now the next thing you're going to decide is how many attempts you're going to let them have, if you want them to have a limited number of attempts or if you want them to be able to do it as much as they want. Then you're going to have to decide if it's going to be anonymous grading, which I don't do, and then you're going to have to decide who you're going to assign this to. If you're going to assign it to everyone, or you can differentiate in this area and assign it to only certain students in your class. And this is really great if you want to differentiate your centers. Assign a due date and then how long the activity is going to be available for, hit save and publish. All right, educational rock stars, I hope that helped you see how you can use your math and literacy centers inside the platform at Canvas without your students ever having to leave the platform. And I know that that's really a big deal, especially for younger students, because you don't want your students to have to go to multiple websites, and they can do everything right inside the Canvas platform. If you're looking for more tips and strategies to take back into your classroom to make your teacher life a little easier, check out the videos on your screen. Thanks for watching, and keep being an educational rock star.